It's Scott in the Prog Corner, and the day has finally come. I know you freaks have been waiting for over 4 months for this day, and it's here. And I've got with me today the one and only, the great Scott Medina from Sonic Perspectives. Today, we are going to go through the Yes discography. But first, let's talk about my co-host today. I'm going to kick it over to him and let him tell me about why he is qualified to be the first guest in the Prog Corner. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Scott Medina.
Hey everyone, Scott Medina, is good to be here. Thank you. I am so honored. I'm so honored, Scott, for the invite, and peace and love to all of you. Yes, and I think the reason I'm qualified really is my first name. You know, let's be honest here. And yep. I just upped the ante by adding one more T to my name of Scott, because I don't know, he goes by S-C-O-T for some reason. But that's the main reason. We both love Yes. I think Yes is our favorite all-time band. And so just the opportunity to be kind of dueling Scots about ranking these 22 albums.
Dueling Scots. That's right.
That's
what we're doing here. Go ahead.
hey, right on. We're ready to jump into it. You just can't hold us back.
Absolutely. I mean, Yes matters a whole lot to me. People that have been watching my channel know it was the band that sucked me into prog the first time I heard them. The first time I heard Steve Howe's intro on Roundabout. Yeah, this 13-year-old kid was hooked, and they ruined my life. They set the bar and possibly high for every other band that I would ever hear. And so it is a blessing and a curse being a Yes fan. And if you've been a Yes fan, their discography is certainly a jagged one. Lots of peaks, lots of valleys. It's going to be a lot of fun. Me and Scott, we're going to battle it out. We're going to go with 22. So yeah, we're not going to be talking about from a page. We decided, yeah, it's great. It's an EP, probably not going to go there, right?
It's a great footnote. We love it.
Oh, it's a fantastic record. Yeah. But I'm going to start with number 22, and I don't think a whole lot of people will be surprised that it's Open Your Eyes. This is a record that probably should have never had the Yes moniker on it. I like a couple tracks on it. It gets beaten up probably a little unfairly, but there's a reason why Prog Archives has this as the absolute lowest rated. I've got it as the lowest rated. What do you think about this one here? It better be number 22. Come on now. What you got at number 22, Scott?
So here's my 22 is... Oh, bring it up here.
Yeah, that was going to be my reaction shot if it wasn't Open Your Eyes.
Oh, baby, come on. Come on. This is why it's the dueling Scots. Right? No, man. Okay. Like listen, when we get to Open Your Eyes, you know, I'll when I get to open my eyes, I'll talk about it a bit. But
okay. Yeah. And you know, that's going to be the thing. We can talk about records twice, because unless they fall in the same spot, but it's your lucky day. Yeah, number 21.
And hey, number 21 for me. Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, you know, Prog Archives actually agrees with me and has this at number 21. But yeah, God bless them for trying. And this record will forever be in the hearts of a lot of Yes fans as the song of Chris Squire, right?
I'm going to say time out for a sec, Scott.
Okay, why?
I think we can do this better if we hold them up at the same time.
Oh yeah, a little reveal. I like that.
I think we say number 22.
Yeah,
we don't know what each other's going to say, and we both hold them up.
Yeah. No, you're right, because we do not know each other's lists. Yeah. So it's going to be exciting. People are going to be tingling with anticipation to find out what number 20 is going to be. Exactly. Okay. Let's try that. You ready?
So are we going to start from the top?
No.
We're going to go right here.
No, the excitement's over, man. We're rolling with we're going to start the Scott Medina method at number 20.
All right, man.
Yeah. This is how we roll in the big house, in the Prog Corner. So the drum roll's going, right? And
Okay,
here
so
we go.
you had Open Your Eyes was your worst.
Yeah.
Heaven and Earth is mine.
So we flip-flop 22 and 21 for those keeping score.
I just, in terms of the battling thing, I just got to say with Open Your Eyes, you've got the Universal Gardens on there. That is just like a killer track, man.
It's a nice song. It is a decent song. But, if I'm going to go to bat for Heaven and Earth, I'm going to say Subway Walls isn't half bad. Yeah. I kind of like it.
Not half bad.
It's almost prog. Jeff Downs almost delivered the goods, which doesn't make sense because DBA's been great. So where's all the great songwriting? I just don't. It doesn't make sense to me. But I got number 20 in my hand. How about you?
I got 20.
Okay, on the count of 3, number 20 is.
Oh.
all right. Yeah.
Yep. I thought this was a decent album. It's certainly a step up from Heaven and Earth, but it's still way down there for me. Future Memories. There's some really nice songs on here.
Yeah.
And like you said, there's almost that spirit of Yes coming back, almost a sense of classic Yes for a moment. But you picked Union, and there's a lot more classic moments on Union for me than The Quest.
You see, I don't know about that. I'm counting maybe 1 or 2 classic moments here. They get a Grammy nomination off of this thing, but to me, Miracle of Life is the only song I actually like, and it is it's written by the guy that writes all the music for the Criminal Minds television show on CBS. So, that gives you an idea just where they were at. I mean, come on. How many producers were listed on here? I don't even know if Steve Howe and Rick Wakeman even appear on this album. I think it's all the guy from Saga on keyboards and Jimmy from
Jimmy Hahn, yeah.
Arc of Life on guitar. It's a disaster.
When it came out, when Union came out, I was excited because I thought the first 2 tracks I could have waited forever. Shock to the System. I'm like, man, these are great songs. They really surprised me. And but then later when I found out that like Steve Howe probably doesn't even appear on Shock to the System, like talk about a shock to the system. So it's like I had to take off some points.
And it's there's so many things wrong with that record, but we did get a great tour.
I got to give you the quote from Bruford on that album. It was probably not only the most dishonest title that I've ever had the privilege of playing drums underneath, but the single worst album I've ever recorded.
Whoa.
And
that's
Bill's,
right there.
Bill, never pulls any punches, but
but
Miracle of Life, I think, is one of my favorite Raven songs ever. So that
I do enjoy that track a lot. But I just remember buying the CD, being really excited. It's got the Roger Dean cover. It's got all the boys back together, and that thing took I opened up the window. I think I was on my way to Disney World, and that thing got flung out the window between Miami and Orlando.
You and Rick both,
yeah. I did not hear that record again for over 10 years. It made me really angry, and that's the kind of Yes fan I was. But, but what can you do? It's just one of those things. Jonathan Elias, come on. Well, he wasn't qualified to walk around the block where the studio was that they were recording, let alone being inside producing a Yes record. It's just not good. Yeah, there's a reason I have that number 20. And Prog Archives agrees with me on my bottom 3, by the way. I ranked mine. I put that out there, and So I'm keeping track of all this to see
number 19
who the real winners are going to be. Okay, that's number. All right, that's number 20, right? You ready for 19?
19. Yeah.
I'm ready for 19.
Let's do it.
Okay, at 19.
Oh man!
yeah.
Oh, that just took a big flop for you, huh?
You can see the writing on the wall here. This one didn't do it for me. Whereas 90125 really captured the spirit of the 80s for me. I was excited by it. Trevor Horn really got a handle on the sound of that era. But by the time this thing came around, it felt tired. It felt really tepid, and I didn't care for it at all. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I went with The Fly From Here, and of course, this is the original version with Benoit David on it, and it's a nice recording.
Yeah.
This is no drama part 2 for me, but
No.
it's solid. It's a solid album. The man you always wanted me to be is kind of a guilty pleasure for Chris Squire.
Love it.
Hour of Need is just a lovely song, and Into the Storm again almost starts to approach that classic Yes vibe.
Of all the records that I listened to in preparation for this, of all the Yes tracks, I gotta say Into the Storm might have been the one that surprised me the most. I mean, I know their discography inside and out. I've heard every song 1,000 times. I was fully expecting not to be surprised by anything, but I was actually impressed by that one track. I thought it was really great. I really liked it a lot. But then you get into the question of, where do you stand on their return trip home? Was that thing necessary? Which one did you prefer?
No, I'm glad it's out there. I think I like the first version. I mean, they're both equal to me, really. Yeah. I didn't like the bonus extra Howe stuff on the return trip version. I could definitely do without the lead vocals there. But I mean, I'm glad they have both versions out there because Trevor is such a interesting part of Yes's history.
He truly is. And I was happy that they did it because I kind of got priced out of the original vinyl. So when they announced that they were doing that, I'm like, hey, at least I'll be able to, fake it and kind of say I have every Yes album on vinyl, But okay, what are we up to now?
I think we're up to 18 now.
We're up to 18. Fantastic.
All right.
Okay, at number 18.
Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah, we're flipping and flopping on these lower ones, but that's okay.
Yeah. It's to be expected. I think you're going to see a lot of the same stuff at the bottom, a lot of same stuff at the top, just maybe jiggled a little bit. I think the stuff in the middle is probably going to be more interesting, but I really do like The Quest. I think it's a good record. There's a couple songs on here I really could have done without. But I'm going to go to battle for Damaged World. I hate Steve Howe's vocals. I always have from the first day I bought Steve Howe Beginnings, and he started barking Australia. I wanted to throw up. It was terrible. But man, something about Damaged World with his awful vocals. And then when John Davidson kicks in, I love it. It's got that great Ice Bridge opening track. There's some stuff on here that makes me happy that I'm still a Yes fan. And that wasn't really true with Heaven and Earth.
Well said. Well,
that's why I've got it there.
Yeah, and I'm on my Union here, and I already spoke a little bit on this. I mean, I really do like these first 2 tracks. I think they're killer, and you can actually hear Tony Levin in the mix better than on the ABWH album.
True.
And Chris Squire, they brought in for some backing vocals. I mean, I thought there were some great pieces on there, especially Miracle of Life. But I'm with John Anderson on this one. The whole reason for this was so that they could tour it with that lineup and they could play Wakeman live. That's what John said, and I'm totally with him on there. Because for me, I saw that tour several times, and I just remember one of those times, I think it was in the Albany show, and just awakened. I mean, it really awakened something in me there. That was a powerful moment in concert.
Musically, that's exactly why that happened. From the business end, Steve Howe tells a different story, and it was a cynical ploy by Chris Squire to get John Anderson back in the fold. Both things can, in fact, be true. I think they probably are in this case. The album was terrible, but man, that In the Round tour was just incredible. They actually seem to be happy to be on stage together, except you watch those YouTube videos and every time now and then you see Steve giving Trevor a little side eye, which is always a little fun.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Okay, I am ready to unveil
17
in the greatest discography of the history of mankind, and I've got
Oh,
Okay.
I'm going back. I'm going back
Yeah.
20 years.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, you go first.
Wow. 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 Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Time and Word is that far down, but Talk is my choice here. It's a palatable record, but this is one of those things where it's a personal choice. And this version of Yes, with Trevor Rabin at the helm, yeah, he's getting a little bit more contribution from John Anderson here, but it's really still the Trevor Rabin show. And I love the first 90 seconds of Endless Dream are amazing. The rest of the album just is not. Just is not.
Palatable. Boy.
Yeah, it's palatable.
I'll take you
It's
on for
decent.
that when I get
It's
to it.
pleasant.
It's pleasant. Oh man,
Yeah.
that's what I call the quest was pleasant. But
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Talk is a hell of a lot more than pleasant. Come on. Anyway,
Okay.
Time and Word. Yeah, I feel badly putting this.
Justify yourself.
Yeah, I feel badly putting this down here, just because all the other albums that we'll talk about later, they just have so much more significance. So as you say, sometimes in your rankings, the fact that this could be number 17 just shows how amazing the discography is, because you got, no opportunity necessary, no experience needed. It's like mind blower there. Yesterday and Today, Sweet Dreams, Astral Traveler, the title track. I mean, this is an amazing album. I love this album. But the orchestration was really cool thing. Peter Banks is a great player and wonderful to have. So
Yeah, he hated that orchestration.
Right, yeah,
And
he
the
did.
big reason why he did was he just felt like it was stepping on all the parts he had written. And yeah, he was gone before they'd even finished mixing the thing, I guess. Steve Howe was sitting in on the final mix downs of the record, which is kind of weird. Yeah, Astral Traveler, come on. Yeah, I just love Time and a Word, but I'm gonna have more to say about that album in a minute. I'm ready to talk about my number 16.
16.
And,
here we go.
Here we go. You ready? Yeah. All right.
Big generator.
Yeah, big generator. I love it. Yeah, I'm going with Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, and Howe here. A lot of people love this album, and they really think it harkens back to progressive Yes, and at times it does. Brother of Mine is really great. There's a couple moments that are cool, but the reality is that this was a John Anderson solo album that was fleshed out by Bill Bruford and those awful sounding electronic drums. And Steve Howe, he did not even want to go to Montserrat. He hates the Caribbean, so he was mailing it in. It sounds mailed in. It's all right, but yeah, we're including it in our rankings here. But let's be honest, it's Yes in all but name. It's Chris Squire not there, but everybody else is. I like it, but I don't love it. That's my number 16.
All right. Well, I'll talk to ABWH in just a moment, but for now, we go to 87. I can't mark this lower than this, because this was probably the second new Yes album that came out when I was a fan. I started becoming a fan in 83, I think it was. But I can remember even the first listen kind of battling with this. I thought Rhythm Love's a great song, but when they got to the title track, I kind of like it now as a guilty pleasure, but I was just kind of like, wait, isn't this Owner of a Lonely Heart?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it is.
What?
Yeah.
But come on, you got Finalize on here, you got I'm Running, you got Shoot High, Aim Low, and I really like some of the hits as well. So I still think it's a strong album. Yeah, it was a bit of a cluster there, and with producers, and probably going fisticuffs with Trevor Horn at some point in the studio.
Trevor Horn and Tony Kaye.
Yeah. Oh, they've got.
I just can't imagine though. They just don't seem like the two fighting kind, but apparently they hated each other by the time they were done. So
So I still give kudos to the album, even though I can understand your perspective, Scott.
Finalize is a great track. I do really like that a lot. Okay, dude. Yeah, we're at 15. This is where it starts getting really interesting. These middle ones.
Yeah.
Some people think are amazing, and other Yes fans have them a little lower. I think this is where the most disagreements probably happen. But yeah, at number 15, I've got Okay. Yep.
Yep. Take it. Take it.
Yeah. I'm cheating. I'm showing the return trip.
Yeah, it's all right. We get it.
They're both green. It looks right, but yeah, I really do enjoy this album, and I think the reason why I'm putting it a little higher than you probably is I just love that side one suite. I think it's fantastic. Most Yes fans enjoy it, but I think about 85% of the Yes fans I talk to absolutely abhor Bumpy Ride. That little Steve Howe. I love it. I think it sucks without it. It needs it. It has to have it. It's only 2 minutes. You'll get
Yeah.
over it. It's fine, but it's necessary compositionally for the song. It would just be a boring Asia song without Bumpy Ride. And then you get some schmaltz on side two. But I'm telling you, that Into the Storm song, when I was going back and listening to these records, that was the one track that actually probably impressed me more than anything else. I was shocked at how much I was enjoying it. But yeah, that side one suite is just really, really good. I was so happy when this record came out because how long it had been over 10 years. We didn't think we'd ever get anything. And if we did with John out of the band, we figured it would be crap. But yeah, Fly From Here, Drama Part 2, whatever you want to call it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, Benoit sounds really good on it. So
He does.
And I like John Davis, and I do like him. But as I went back and listened to these, I was like, I like the tone better on Fly From Here than on the last two.
Yeah,
the vocals on the last two albums.
And I think John's probably a better fit for the band in terms of the recording process and certainly touring.
Yeah.
And their temperament seem to match up real well. And he doesn't seem to have any kind of vocal strain at all, even after long months of touring. You watch YouTube clips, his voice is never the problem. People diss Yes Original and their live acumen these days, but the one thing nobody can ever diss is John Davison's vocal chops. The guy's great. He's fantastic. He's really, really good.
Well, on mine, all right. So we're over here, ABWH again, and
yeah, that's you. That's you.
Yeah, I can remember listening to this. I think I was living in Manhattan at the time this came out, and I remember being on the bus listening to it again, and just you get something like Themes, and you get all excited, and then do 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 do. It's like, okay, well, not quite the theme, like the full. You think with this lineup you're going to get something really amazing.
Yeah,
and there was some amazing. Birthright is fantastic. Brother of Mine. I mean,
yeah,
can't say more about that. And
fantastic song.
The Meeting. I mean, there's a lot of good songs on here, but yeah, the production and the lack of bass and those electronic drums. It just there were some strikes against it. So I really, again though, because of the tour that came out.
Yeah.
It was like so brilliant to have that after, going with Big Generator, and then suddenly we're back with the boys again. And Tony Levin playing bass with Bill Bruford. I mean, their duet in the live concert was just like the highlight of the show.
A lot of people were upset with some dates that had Jeff Berlin,
including the video. Yeah,
and I don't know why anybody'd be upset about that, but I did not get to see them live, but I've watched everything that's available on YouTube and the DVDs and stuff. And yeah. The only thing I could say is it would have been nice if the additional musicians would have been on stage with them. They had an extra guitar player and an extra keyboard player who were hidden behind the curtain, and I'm never a big fan of that. But, it was the 80s, man. I am up to number 14, Scott.
Woo! Okay.
Yeah, and here we go. I'm going to 1969.
Oh, wait, turn it around. There it is.
Finally, we finally agree on one. It took long enough.
Nice.
Yeah,
it sure did. Boy, the debut and like I
go ahead. I want you to talk about it.
Okay, cool. Just for nostalgic sake, I'd love to put this up even higher again because I like this only slightly better than Time and a Word. I mean, both of them just go back to back for me, but there's just a few songs more that I love on this, like you got Looking Around, opening up with those bass notes.
Yeah.
How fitting is it that Chris Squire opens up Yes History with those bass notes on Beyond and Before, and then you've got Survival. Yesterday and Today, that's on this album. See, I get confused sometimes. And then the bonus, I don't know if we can talk about the bonus disc, but bonus disc has Something's Coming on it and Dear Father, which are just like right there. It's what an album.
Something's Coming is amazing. I mean, those Chris Squire bass lines he's playing that kind of predate what he did with America. And you didn't even mention Harold Land. That might be like their very first epic, even though lengthwise it was far from it. And then Survival. Oh yeah. I'm a big fan of the first two albums. It's always been iffy for me which one I prefer. On any given day it goes back and forth, and I'm not really like that with this discography, to be honest with you. This order is not really changed a whole lot. It changed because the Quest slipped in there, but aside from that, it's pretty much been a very static discography for me. And I really do love early Yes. Peter Banks was just an amazing player. He gets short shrift. The dude came up with the name for the band. If there was no Peter Banks, there would be no Yes. He was as important to the creation and development of that band and their sound and their style than John Anderson or Chris Squire. And, just because he wanted to sue him because he was claiming he helped write Roundabout. I guess he was persona non grata in Yes World after that. I can't imagine why, but that notwithstanding, the great Peter Banks, R.I.P. Fantastic. I love that first album a lot.
Absolutely.
a lot. And at number 13, I might have kind of telegraphed it. Maybe a little bit. Yeah, I did. Okay. Yeah, I got the UK.
Yep. Oh.
And then we've got the US. And then we've got the German. Remember? That came out for Record Store Day. That's the Time and a Word German cover.
That is so confusing.
Isn't that weird? I mean, it's the first album. I don't understand. But I do understand that right now, I think I do prefer Time and a Word just a smidge over the debut. The orchestra gives it a few extra colors, a few, more things that were interesting tonality wise to hook your mind into. But I think the primary reason I put this ahead of the first album is the fact that Dude Man that was producing this album was using some bad headphones. So he kept listening in his cans and he can't hear the bass. So he keeps turning it up. And everybody else in the studio is like, man, that bass is really loud. They don't want to say nothing to Dude Man. So it turned out that this album is just so Squire heavy. I love it. I love how heavy that bass is on this album. So thank God for those faulty headphones.
Yeah, Chris is very appreciative too.
Oh yeah. That really started that Yes heavy bass sound. Yeah, I love it. Now, what was your pick at this spot?
Yeah. So I'm over here in a whole different era. I mean, like how do you compare like Time and a Word to anything? It's just like, are these the same band? I don't know. But anyway, I have a much higher opinion of this album, obviously, than you do, Scott. I thought this was incredible collaboration between John and Trevor. Finally, they're writing together, really creating it. Some of these songs, just like Real Love, is just killer. State of Play, I'm Waiting, the Calling. It's just like excellent songs. Endless Dream, I know some people really love that, and I'm so on it. I think it was good, but Miracle of Life to me was a hell of a lot better as far as Trevor's finest moment. But really sweet. A few disappointing things, there wasn't great bass lines from Chris on this, but sonically it sounds incredible. So,
well, isn't it like one of the very first albums ever like recorded and mixed down and produced and mastered all on a laptop? And I guess Trevor was way ahead of his time.
He was way ahead of the curve. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, and it is a good sounding record. I mean, you can't argue with the sonics of it. He definitely he knows his way around a recording studio.
And again, the tour was just so much fun. The band were having a great time, and I think they were pretty disappointed though with the reception of the album and the turnout of the tour. But for those of us who saw them during that, it was a blast. And that was also the debut of Billy Sherwood on the stage.
Great Billy Sherwood, yeah, who actually appears on Union though. He wrote one song.
Yeah.
And, so
we didn't mention that.
No, we did not. So, when people say that this current Yes lineup may not, be legit, hey, do your homework, do your research. Jeff Downes been involved in the band since 1980. Billy's been involved with the band since 88. Come on, you guys don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. Yes is always yes. They'll always be great.
They'll always be changing.
Every one of these records has something about them worth listening to. And as we keep going here, all these records are getting pretty great.
Yeah, I'm curious about these next few here. Yeah, what are we up to? Number 12?
Number 12. Yeah, that's what we're doing here. Number 12.
I got it in my hands. The Ladder.
Okay.
And you got Tormato. Yeah.
You got the Ladder. I got Tormato. Yeah, I just did upon further review about Tormato for years and years. This was the album that severed my love for Yes. It severed my relationship with progressive rock. I hated it. I was living on a boat at the time, and I bought the cassette because I really did like Going for the One. And this thing came out, and I flung it overboard. It landed somewhere between Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. It's at the bottom of the sea. And I didn't listen to it again for years and years. I was actually dead wrong. It's a really good record. Yeah, I don't have it quite as high apparently as you do, but I do like it a lot. I think that Release is an amazing track. I even love the drum solo and the fake crowd noise. Chris Squire's Onward is just one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard in my life. I saw that tour, and it was the 6th concert ever played by Yes without Chris Squire. And man, when they played this song on the PA, and they had the the one white hot spotlight on that Rickenbacker bass, and this song's playing, and there's a tear running down the eyeball. Yes, there is. Amazing stuff. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, love it. So I went with the Ladder for this one.
Yeah,
which I just love this. Wow, what an album! It's like Bruce Fairbairn, is that how you pronounce it?
I think so.
Producer.
Yeah,
it sounds excellent. I mean, they should have used this guy a lot because this album sounds great. It sounds
like they couldn't use him after the Ladder.
Fair enough. And
as you know,
what a send off it was.
Yeah.
And they had Igor in the band. Then they had Billy in the band, and all of them, like, I think Bruce got them to like be in one place, really write together, create this together, and it really pays off. I mean, songs like Homeworld and New Language and Finally, The Messenger. I mean, there's just like great track after great track. And what I love about it is it has some of that spirit of old classic Yes, but it's very modern. And even though Trevor Rabin isn't in the band, it almost kind of feels like he is, because there's this modern, almost kind of pop prog element to this, like It Will Be a Good Day and songs like that. So I just think with only a couple of kind of bum songs for me, this is just fantastic album.
Well, obviously I haven't mentioned it yet, so that kind of implies that I might prefer it. Yeah, you're preaching to the choir here. I love it. It's a great album. I got a few things to say about it. Nice. We're at number 11, Scotty. Number 11.
Get your tomatoes out.
It's getting exciting. Number 11. Yeah, this is my highest rated Trevor Rabin release, and it should be for any God-fearing Yes fan. This is the real deal, people. This is Trevor Rabin at his absolute best. This is Trevor Horn producing like he'd never produced before. This album kind of soundtracks the entire decade in a way. If you want to pinpoint what did the 80s sound like you might want to give them this album. Yeah, it's not classic, yes, but when the songs are this good, this catchy, and there is progressive elements throughout here. You can't tell me Changes isn't progressive, or the acapella sections of Leave It. I mean, it's prog enough for me, but the selling point and why I have it here at this lot is just the songwriting is just incredible. I really like this album a lot. I always did. Yeah, it was everything you would want from 80s Yes, all in one record.
Oh, preaching to the choir, and I'm going much higher with my ranking.
Apparently, since you haven't mentioned yours, but
sure. So right now we are on the tomato. You say Tormato, I say Tormato, but Splat, yeah. So for me, this was the missing Yes album, the lost Yes album. I didn't even know this existed. Yeah. And when I went to see the 90125 concert, my first concert ever, and I got the tour program, I'm looking at the discography in the back. This album was not in it. So I did. Even the band had disowned this album, and I didn't know it existed until I found it in a used record store later. Oh, but we had heard this live recording from this tour, and we heard Circus of Heaven live, and we're like, what? And then we heard On the Silent Wings of Freedom live. We're like, where does this come from? So it was a thrill when I finally found this in the used record store. I was just over the moon. And yeah, like you said before, there's so many great songs on your Future Times, Rejoice. I love Madrigal. That's one of my favorites. And On the Silent Wings of Freedom, it's just, a classic.
Yeah, I think it was a weird sounding record.
Needs a producer.
Eddie Alford's not around. Yeah. So, you got 10 hands on that mixing board. Everybody's, fighting for space. Yeah. Apparently a lot of these songs started as demos and John Anderson and an acoustic guitar. So when they took the acoustic guitar part out, there's all this empty space. So you got Steve and Rick fighting to get as many notes in as possible. Plus Rick showing off his new technology, his Birotron that he had just bought a controller.
Yeah, I wasn't wild about Rick's sound on this.
He's showing off his new technology, and whatnot. I actually do like the album. And we talked about that Union tour in the round, but Yes, in 1978 and early 1979, that might be the best live band I've ever seen in my life. And I didn't see it with these own eyeballs. I caught them in 77. I didn't catch them in 78, but they were on fire. Just going back and watching those videos, man. Wow. Incredible. Yeah, we're at number 10, Scott.
Number 10, let's do it.
Up. Here we go.
Top 10.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Man, give me some magnification.
Yeah.
Let's do Scott's agree.
For the second time, we agree on this. Oh yeah, I love this album. Mm-hmm. I really enjoy that the orchestration here is exactly what Time and a Word wanted to be, but wasn't. It's tasteful. It doesn't step all over Steve Howe. And I think maybe the lack of a keyboard player actually works in its advantage here. Nobody's fighting for that space. Nobody's stepping on lines that were, I wrote that for the keyboard. It was all good and pre-planned. And the songs are amazing. In the Presence of, Spirit of Survival, Dreamtime. And I like Time is Time. I do. If that's going to be the last song I ever hear John Anderson sing with Yes, I'm cool with it because it's amazing.
Yeah, I agree with everything you say. That's the amazing thing. The songs are really good. The concert again was amazing. That tour, and they did, I think, In the Presence of was the big epic they chose to do, and as well as the title track. But there's so many other great songs, and like Chris sounded amazing. You get a lot of his vocals on this. On Can You Imagine, he does the lead, and I love that song too. And Steve's playing is all over this. He sounds, the whole band sounds really inspired on this. And I know they were really disappointed that this didn't just go through the roof with sales and kind of catapult them back into it.
It didn't help that it came out September 10th, 2001.
Did it?
Yeah. The day before 9/11.
Man, I forgot that. Yeah.
That sucks, man. That doesn't help at all. People forget just how integral Alan White is to the band. If you just think about him as just a, the guy that wasn't as good as Bill Bruford, go back and listen to In the Presence of, and realize that that song was written primarily musically by him. And you talked to me about Alan White not being a consummate musician. And dude, they just stole his drums. Did you hear that? Yeah, the drums that Alan played on Imagine were stolen over the weekend. Yeah.
Come on.
Yes, they were.
I can't imagine.
Cool, man.
Boy. Ouch.
That's not cool, but you know what is cool? Oh, number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9's awesome. Great segue there.
That's for sure.
Number
Amen.
9. Yeah.
Here we go.
We didn't talk about it, but look at that. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Give the love. Yeah, that's right. I'm feeling
this
it.
This is for everyone at Yes Management. You see this? This is called
Get a clue.
Flat. It's 12 by 12. It's imitating a piece of vinyl. How amazing would this be on Record Store Day? Can you imagine that? Key Studio on vinyl, Record Store Day release. Oh, yeah. Key Studio is amazing.
Amazing.
You held up Keys to Ascension 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And I've been challenged by Yes fans for years telling me that, the studio tracks on 1 and 2 are totally different, man. They sound so different. Can't you hear different sessions and different studio? They sound almost identical to me. They're mixed identical to me. It's got that Billy Sherwood touch all over it. But I don't care. I love them both. That is the most underrated song in Yes's entire discography. I love Mind Drive. I love everything about this. And the only thing I hated about it was that it came out on 2 different albums that you were holding up. Keys to Ascension 1 and 2 is ridiculous. No, if you're a casual Yes fan, why would you buy that? And if you were a major Yes fan, the new songs are buried. Again, why would you buy that? I've got all these songs live on other things. It was a horrible.
It was a hard time for Yes. I gotta assume it's because of after Talk, and they just weren't selling. I mean, they're on Purple Pyramid here, I think, when it was released, and it's like no one knew that these albums were out.
No,
I mean, and then they get overshadowed because when they tour, they're touring Open Your Eyes. I mean, the whole timing was like such a cluster, and we just need to go by Rick's quote on this because he was disgusted with the whole thing. I think that's why he left. Like, you're kidding me. You're not releasing this as a studio album. You're kidding me, right?
And then that Keys to Ascension 2 comes out November 9th. And November 22nd, Open Your Eyes comes out. I mean, it was
they couldn't be more different sounding. I mean, of all the screw ups that Yes have done, or Yes management have done, this was definitely one of the worst.
Yeah, the late 90s screw up. You had the band together again. You had the material, for crying out loud.
It's brilliant.
And you screw the pooch. It was unacceptable. But that's one of the things I love about Yes, is unlike, the slick marketing machine that is Led Zeppelin, that even, 40 years after they break up, they still sell millions of records every year. Yes was always badly managed, whether it was Brian Lane or any of the other jokers in the 90s. And that's part of why I love them. It makes them more endearing to me. Yeah. Number 8. Are we at 8, Scott?
8. Let's do it.
All right. I'm getting pumped up. The higher up these rankings we get.
Yeah. Talk about some drama, baby. Talk about some drama.
Yeah.
We're just nodding our head because they're both like amazing.
You know what? There's nothing bad you can say about either one here. The latter means a whole lot to me. You talked about Bruce Fairbairn. This was the guy that produced Loverboy, for crying out loud. How in the world was this guy gonna squeeze new life into the old dinosaur that was Yes? They were a disaster. They didn't know what they were doing. We talked about all their issues in the 80s and 90s. And for them to do a record this good is ridiculous. It should have never happened. I guess Steve Howe and John Anderson find Bruce Fairbairn slumped over the console. He dies finishing mixing this album. There's a lot of love. There's a lot of sweat. There's a lot of tears. This album's amazing. New Language, Homeworld. Forget about it. I am a fan of the latter. I think it holds up really, really well with the 70s stuff. And like you said, it's not trying to be a 70s album. It's a very modern sounding record, but it's got that, the flourishes of the 70s. Dude Man did a great job on the keyboards. Too bad he turned out to be not such a great guy and they had to get rid of him, but I'm not going to disparage him. He paid the price.
Oh, Igor is way up there in my book. Go ahead.
Yeah.
He was amazing.
He is.
And in concert, wow, he did it all, right?
Yeah.
So
unbelievable player.
Yeah. So here I am with
Yes.
with the drama, and I'm sure there's some Yes fans out here who were polarized about this album, but I wasn't around to care because I didn't even know the band for another 3 years after this. And when I went back to it, it's an amazing album. This is incredible. This is gold, and it is kind of like a different band, and I do feel sorry for all the people who sold out Madison Square Garden when the tickets went on sale and they thought John Anderson and Rick Wakeman were still in the band.
Yeah.
They didn't find out until later.
Yeah, that's a bummer. That's a bummer.
Amazing. But I think of this like when I listen to Trick of the Tail, and I think of it here too, and I'm listening to Machine Messiah, and you're waiting and it's not John, and what's going to happen, and it's sort of like a revelation when Trevor's first lines come in and you're like, damn, that sounds a bit like John, and
what's going on with that?
And it just sounds great.
No, you're right. The comparison to Trick of the Tail is perfect. Because on both records, I kept waiting for them to suck. And they never did, bro. They just never did. Obviously, the new singers just were fitting perfectly with the material. Trevor Horn and Jeff Downs. It was just a perfect scenario. They were both managed by Brian Lane and recording in the same space. And it was just meant to be. But I don't think it could have been more than a one album, one tour kind of thing. It was lightning in a bottle. It couldn't last, but
I'll just say that trio sure got lucky, with who was down the hall.
Yeah.
I mean, they got really lucky how this turned out.
We need a singer and a keyboard player. John and Rick just left. Yeah. It was Mana from Heaven, and the album is just terrific. They delivered the goods. At number 7. Yeah. I think I know what you're gonna pick up.
All right, man. Here we go.
Yep.
Hey, all right.
Yep. Yeah, we were just talking about drama. I mean, how lucky were Steve, Chris, and Alan that they were able to get the Buggles to come in and augment their band. This album's amazing. Machine Messiah is as good as anything Yes did in the 70s. Tempest Fugitive is it's just amazing. I love the fact that they had the presence of mind to bring not only Roger Dean back into the fold, but Eddie Offord comes in and he creates this most pristine universe for Yes to do their thing. And it sounds like Yes, but it also sounds like the future. It sounds like the 80s are knocking. This predates what 90125 would do in terms of bridging the gap between the old and the new. I just love drama. It's incredible. Yeah. What else can you say?
Does it really happen? I mean, what a track,
It is. But you had something else.
I had something else. And I enjoyed Asia, but it's like, why couldn't Asia have brought in a little more of that, kind of prog into it? Because
well, Yes kind of did with the 90125, right?
Yeah. Speaking of which, there it is. And this again, growing up, coming to age in music in the 80s as I did, I just I didn't have a bias. I discovered Yes through Yes songs, and so before this came out, I was already a big 70s fan. But like when I heard It Can Happen, and Wondrous Stories, they were just the same band to me. It's like no big deal. Yeah. And then you had Hearts. Oh boy, I mean Hearts just the whole album. I think this is my favorite album of the 80s. I mean, really, it's like it's kind of a perfect album. Like City of Love, Our Song, everything. Hold On. I mean, brilliant songs done so well. Thanks to Trevor Horn. And isn't that cool that the only other lead singer at that point for Yes still was in the fold here in the producer role? I mean, that's something I think a lot of people really think about, but it's really cool.
I mean, as a long-term Yes fan, that was important for me, as was putting Tony Kaye into the band at the time. As far as the legitimacy of the band in old timers like me's minds, it was absolutely essential, even though Tony Kaye really didn't contribute a whole lot.
And
It just knowing he
he
was
was in
there.
and out of it there
Yeah.
too, you know, with all
Yeah.
those politics and stuff. And I mean,
Yeah.
I do feel for Trevor Rabin. It's like he didn't sign up for this.
No, he did not.
He
He
was
didn't even
starting a
want the
new
thing to be
band,
called Yes.
and for his song, I mean, so I kind of feel badly that the name was foisted, and suddenly he had to do this whole old repertoire, and
Yep.
you know, but he rolled with it really well.
Yes, he did. And like I was saying, he didn't want it to be called Yes. He didn't sign up for it, but he dealt with it well. And having a worldwide #1 hit probably helped justify that decision a little bit for him. But
Yeah.
I love it. It's an amazing album, and obviously the best thing Yes did in the '80s. But yeah, #6 I've got in my hand,
Me
and
too.
I'm really curious to see where you go here.
I know.
#6 in the Yes discography tells you a whole lot. Usually it tells you a lot about when you were born, but
And at the same time, these next 6 albums, I mean, they're all kind of on par in many ways for me too. So it's like, but here we go, #6.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Did you?
It's, going for the one. I think for a lot of people, a lot of Yes fans that I know that were born a little bit after me, for a lot of people, this is their Yes album, might have been their introduction to it. With me, I'd been a fan for a while, and this was actually the first Yes album I bought on release day. I became a fan in '75, so I got Fish Out of Water on release day. I got Elias of Sun Hillow, but I was waiting for this, man. I was waiting so long and so hard. And when it came out and I hear that pedal steel, and I was a little confused. I'm not going to lie. I did not love this album at first. Turn of the Century. I love that right from the get-go. And then Parallels just sounded like a Fish Out of Water reject track. Wondrous Story was really short. And then Awaken happened. And I'm like, okay, maybe I need to reevaluate this whole thing. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I was wrong. Going for the one is incredible. I put it maybe just a half step below the top 5, but we're splitting hairs here.
We are definitely. And same thing. It's like Relayer kind of belongs in the top 5 for sure. And I know a lot of people will have this ranked higher than #6. But just when I look compared to what's above it, I can't really argue about it. But I'd say they were pretty much on their peak musically for this album. I mean, what incredible playing. It's like when you get to Sound Chaser, it's just mind-boggling. To Be Over, such a beautiful track. And those are certainly the 2 underplayed ones. I think we should take a moment here just of silence to everyone who's got tickets for the upcoming Yes tour and thought they were getting this, because how long a time has this been coming that some of these songs haven't been played? But brilliant and really challenging album. And Alan is just, I mean, all of them are just incredible on this one.
Yeah, well, I saw that Yes was going to be going to Close to the Edge 50th anniversary. And for those of you that saw the Royal Affair and saw that they snuck Gates of Delirium onto the set list there, trust me, my fellow Yes fans, they're probably doing us all a favor by not attempting it, because my #5 album, my friend, my #5 is Relayer.
There it is.
It's amazing. It's probably too complicated, man. I don't think they can handle it right now. I just don't, especially if Alan is going to be playing there. And I love Steve, but Steve is not the guy he was, is playing as it's How old is he, man? He's 75, right? So,
Mm.
but this is probably, for me, the peak of Yes musicianship, the peak of their explorative side. This album sounds dangerous. This album sounds angry. There's an aggression to it, but at the same time, there's this really cool swooshy jazz fusion thing going on. All the weird sound effects and Gates of Delirium, all the cool sound effects and Sound Chaser. And then you get To Be Over, which is an amazingly beautiful track. I love the counterpoint section of Steve and Patrick towards the end of the song. It's amazing. This album, yeah, my top 5 is absolutely interchangeable. To me, they're all perfect 10s. I'm splitting hairs here big time. I got Relayer at number 5, but
I just want to get the bigger artwork here from Roger Dean for my number 5. Yeah, we've got Fragile, baby. That's right. And boy, this is just classic Yes at its finest. There's only 4 like proper band songs on the album, but what songs?
Yeah.
Roundabout, Heart of the Sunrise, Long Distance Runaround, and then South Side of the Sky. I might even be my favorite out of all of them.
Yeah.
And then the solo tracks are really cool. I mean, Mood for a Day is just quintessential classical guitar playing there.
I need those solo tracks.
Yeah.
I gotta have them.
And it's just amazing. I mean, we aren't going to include live albums, but Yes songs obviously reigns supreme over all of this. And there it is. And what they took from Fragile, like the Fish, to go live with where Chris went with that live is mind-blowing. And everything that progressive rock is criticized for, but every reason that we love it.
No, absolutely. And you bring up Yes songs. I think a lot of people that was their entry point for Yes. I know it was an early record for me. I think I maybe only had Fragile and Close to the Edge when I got Yes songs. So yeah, it was a real early record for me. And I love it. The artwork. I mean, how many hours did I spend staring at that Roger Dean artwork? It's just crazy. I love it. Where are we? Oh yeah. We're at number 4. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's just ridiculous. This is insane. Whoa. Okay. All right.
Man. Yeah, that's right.
Interesting. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love those little art posters there. What was that, from Prog magazine there? Or is that a calendar?
Yeah, this is actually the Roger Dean calendar. And this is for those who don't know, this is my representation of going for the one here, because this is what the album cover should have been.
Yes.
This is what Roger Dean gave to the band for the album cover. And for some reason, they went with a naked guy staring at skyscrapers that Scott held up.
But John Anderson.
Because I'm holding this up instead. Because this is, I mean, look at this. Doesn't this capture the sense of Wondrous Stories and Turn of the Century to you? It's just
big mistake. Yes is a band, in part the reason I love them is because their career is so littered with those frustratingly obvious bad decisions, like not using Roger Dean on Going for the One. Oh, and then choosing the Tormato cover. That Tormato cover was offered to XTC for their go-to album. Andy Partridge said, pass, this is horrible. A couple months later, he's in his local record store and sees, that's funny. I said no to that record sleeve. Why did Yes say yes to it? That's terrible. I mean, come on, gentlemen. It's just a career littered with bad decisions, which keeps them kind of cult-esque. They never reached that same level of Pink Floyd or Rush or some of those other bands, which is why I will always love Yes way, way more. Because of those bad decisions, it kept them tethered to the real world and their art. And my number 4, I listened to this just before we went on. Number 4, the Yes album.
Yep.
What you got? Let's see it.
My number 4 was Going for the One.
Oh, that was Going for the One. Oh.
Yep.
Oh, so now we're at 3 is what I'm hearing.
Or you want to talk about the Yes album? You want to talk about
I do. 4? I do. I just was listening to this thing, and it's just incredible. The space that Tony K allowed for Steve Howe on this album. People are always like, oh man, what if Rick was on this album? If Rick was on this album would not have been as good. There is no way. All the open space for Steve to do a million different things. There's so many more guitar overdubs on this album than I thought there were. Because a lot of Yes tracks, there's not a million guitar overdubs. Here there are. They're everywhere, and they're panned all weird and early 70s E, so you can really hear them and identify them. But I mean, this should be called the Steve Howe album. The clap. I've been playing guitar since I was 5, Scott. I see that string behind you. I know you play.
I picked up guitar because of clap.
When I started playing guitar, I was 5 years old, man. I've been playing for 54 years. I got moved for a day and a day. No problem. Piece of cake. The clap, I still can't play it.
No. Yep.
Not like that.
Same here.
It's beautiful. It's perfect. It's 10 out of 10. Starship Trooper. When I saw Anderson, Rabe, and Wakeman in Dayton a couple years back, they did Perpetual Change. And, right at the time, the vocals start, of birds flying by, and John's pointing at the bird, having the spiritual moment. It was just amazing. Yeah. The Yes album is everything. I love it. It's got a little bit of that 60s feel still going on there. But yeah, it's just incredible. Yeah, number 3.
Here we go.
I don't think we're going to be agreeing here.
No. Scott's going to get on my case. I can tell.
Yeah. I know what's coming.
Come on.
I know what's coming. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Why don't you talk first about
number
fails?
3? Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, this I'm only going to say great things about this, really. And I mean, The Revealing Science of God is just my kind of a go-to song almost for me for Yes. And then going into the Remembering. So the few times that I've seen them play it live, The Revealing was just mind-blowing. So, but I have a suspicion where this is going to be on yours, Scott. And it's such a divisive album. I know for some people it wouldn't even be getting anywhere near up this high, and so for me, number 3 feels just right for it because it's an incredible album, and yet
I suspect you're pulling your punches because I've been pretty open about my unadulterated love for Tales. So yeah, I'm not going to say a word about it now, but I will in a second. My number 3, little surprising for people, and I don't have a whole lot to say about it. Everybody knows the record. It's just there's 2 albums I like maybe a little bit better. There's just something about that title track, that 18 minutes and 46 seconds of perfection at 33 and a third RPM, that 624 times to go around and around. And it is absolutely perfect. If side 2 was at that level, it would certainly be my number 1 album of all time, let alone on this list. I feel slightly let down by And You and I and Siberian Khatru. They're both great tracks. But I mean, when held up against the greatness of that epic title track, it's almost an unfair fight. So that's why it is at number 3 on my ranking. And I know a lot of people have it at number 1. And like I said, my top 5 are all 10 out of 10. So
there you go.
All right, number 2. Yeah, Process of Elimination kicking in.
Wow, yeah, Fragile up there, nice.
Yeah, I got Fragile at number 2. This was the first Yes album I ever heard, and like I said, from the first time I heard Steve Howe, the opening notes of Roundabout, I was hooked because I was a classical guitar student, so it caught my interest right away. But this record has held up over the years for me. I just love how the production sounds. It does not sound like this thing was recorded in 1971. It's just crazy. Scott, how is this possible that this thing sounded this good was recorded in 1971. Explain that to me. Also explain to me how Rick Wakeman was invited to the band on a Thursday saying no to David Bowie, and by Friday they had Heart of the Sunrise and Roundabout written already. Explain that one to me. Explain to me how Bill Bruford keeps time in Heart of a Sunrise like he does. I just can't say anything bad about this record. A lot of people diss it for its lack of cohesion and the solo bits, but to me, those connective tissues are what makes this a great album. We're not just talking about the songs, we're talking about an album as a whole. Fragile is just perfect. I love it. I love every second of it. That's my number 2.
And that's the incredible thing about bands then. They were coming out with 2 landmark albums in the same year.
Yeah,
I mean,
the Yes album came out in 71 also.
It was just nonstop, the creativity that happened. And that's why the Yes album is, it's my number 2. Like I said, Yes Songs was my introduction. So I got, I can't get the 14.5-minute version of Yours Is No Disgrace on this one. But those kind of songs like have to be the very cream of the crop for me, like Starship Trooper, Perpetual Change. And like I said, Clap is really what made me want to play the guitar. And of course, have my new guitar teacher laughing his ass off at me. But Mood for a Day did work. Yeah, we got that down.
Yeah, I got that down. That's no problem, man. But wow, Clap is just incredibly difficult. Woo. But I love the Yes album. And, there's a reason why Rick Wakeman wanted to join that band, right? I mean, he heard them, I guess Straubs had played a couple dates with them. And his whole thing was, here you got this jazz drummer with this country and Western picker on guitar and this booming rock guy, this bass guitar god, and then this little elfin tenor. I mean, none of it should work. Not any of it should work. You throw in the classically trained sequin caped one on keyboard, and you got 5 of the most crazy individual singular talents, but so different and desperate, it should not work.
Yeah. And how do you go from this? How do you go from this to this in like the same? Well, I guess because you got Steve Howe sneaking in where he shouldn't be in that album cover. I guess that's how. But
again, the disrespect that Peter Banks has had to suffer over the years.
Yeah,
I feel bad for his kin. I really do. It's not right. It's not right. He deserved a little bit better, but yeah.
Okay, well, our podcast is over because we only got number 1 left, and it's like
everybody knows what it is. So see you later, everybody.
Yep. Yours is No Disgrace.
Yeah, we know what number 1 is for
Here's
me.
number 1 right here. Oh, wait, how did that get in here?
Sorry. Actually, I kind of like that one. Tales. I've done a whole episode about Tales. Everybody knows my love for this album. I just love Rick Wakeman version of Yes. I just think he's the perfect guy for them. My top 3 is Fragile, Close to the Edge, and Tales for a reason. That line up with Steve and Chris and John, it's the best band in the history of mankind, and the most perfect expression of that is 4 sidelong epics on a double album. The devil be damned, we're gonna do exactly what we want. We've sold enough records, we've got on the good graces of Amit Ergadin over at Atlantic. He'll let us do it. And how many bands would follow up their masterpiece with this? Oh, yeah, Fleetwood Mac maybe. But even more so, this is like just insane. Why would they do that? This is career suicide. And they knew it and they did it. Why? Because the art told them to. And maybe the weed also.
All based on a footnote from Autobiography of a Yogi. It's amazing what you can come up with from that. Yeah, and what blows my mind is that was Alan White's first studio album with Yes.
Yeah, how?
It's like what did I walk into here?
Yeah,
and then Relayer after that. It's crazy. Yeah, so here I am. I wanted a little more beautiful artwork than just the cover from Close to the Edge. But this is the album. Yeah, I am a little stunned that it's You're number 3 because this is a perfect album, and I'm definitely going to bat for the second side because, in my opinion, the second side definitely stands up with the first side.
Yeah.
That is just sheer perfection. Interesting that they open their shows with Siberian,
Hey now, hey
and
now.
that's the last song. You know, what would have happened if they had redone the album order to start with Siberian? Just, you know, interesting thought, but it's perfect the way it is. You can't say anything more about this.
No, you're right. That is an interesting point because when they did those the classic albums, I wonder if they're going to do it this time since they're going back to the close to the edge well for this tour. Because you're right, when they were doing the classic album tours, they did close to the edge backwards. They did every other album in the exact running order, but that one, yeah, they did reverse it. So, you know, maybe back in the day when I first heard it, yeah, maybe it would have hooked me a little bit more. But yeah, my love for Tales is just completely based on an emotional attachment and the way it makes me feel, and the fact that I had to work really, really hard to get to like it. So I felt like it was a toy I bought with my own money, my own blood, sweat, and tears. I paid for my fandom of that album. And as a result, I think there's a real sense of ownership. And I think also the fact that it is so universally loathed by people on the fence, that again makes me want to cling on to it even more and be its champion, you know. So I have always liked the underdog, and Tails is kind of that. So yeah, there you have it.
That is, yes. And you know what I was saying to Scott before we started was, you know, the thing about this band that is so amazing is just how truly progressive Yes is. It's like, I think that's one thing, as much as I love contemporary prog, in fact, sometimes even prefer contemporary to classic prog, is that the classic bands really progressed. And I think Yes is probably the cream of the crop on that because they evolved. You know, you look at like Rush and Pink Floyd, it's like their sound evolved in the span of 10 years and sometimes in the span of 2 years. And Yes, it's like you go from Time and the Word to the Yes album to Topographic Oceans, to Relayer, and then to Drama. I mean, all within 10 years. And I mean, we're not even talking about Trevor Rabin yet. It's like the progression is incredible, and it's something we don't see a lot.
From Time and a Word to Revolver is 49 months. 49 months. And they sound like they're from a whole different era. I mean, they're one of the few bands that progressed really throughout their career, but rapidly. Like you said, they didn't take 10 years to try to evolve into something new. They were always looking to do something new, always looking to do something interesting. That's why they're my favorite band. And that's why when, you know, I first started talking about doing my Yes rankings, the great Scott Medina came to me and said he wanted to hijack this thing and jump on board. And that's okay, because I kind of wanted to have my first guest on this channel, and I couldn't have a better one than you. So thank you for spending Easter Sunday here in the Prog Corner, Scott. You are the best. If you people have not read what Scott puts out, his reviews on Sonic Perspective, you are missing out. The guy is really, really, really good at what he does. He knows a whole lot more about this prog stuff than I do. So I'm just glad he's not on YouTube 24/7. He'd be making me look bad. But thank you so much for being here today, Scott.
Thank you, Scott, for bringing me in to the Prog Corner. It's a true honor to be here. And to just get to geek out about our favorite band ever. Wow. What a blessing.
Yeah. And is today, are they doing something down in Florida? Is Rozfest this weekend?
So John Anderson performed last night at Rozfest. Yep.
Yeah. And we should have been there, man. But here we are. We're just talking about prog, and you know, that's all right. One of these days, I'm actually going to get out of my post-COVID blues and maybe go to some shows. But you know, we'll see. We'll see. Do you have anything that you're planning on going to see here in the next couple months?
Yeah, well, a big thing for me is catching up with all of this on the Cruise to the Edge in 2 weeks. And before that, I'm going to Morse Fest as well.
Yeah.
So,
well, I had a feeling you were probably going to be saying that you were going to both Morse Fest and Cruise to the Edge. maybe I can invite you back on the channel, and you can talk a little bit about your experience at either or both or whatever you feel like doing. The invitation's there, but I think I think my viewers would really like to hear about that. I was thinking about doing a cruise to the edge episode anyway, but what do I know? I've never been on one. I'll probably never be on one, so we need your help to kind of make it
We got to
a
get
little
you
more
there, man.
valid.
We got to get you there.
Yeah, one of these days. One of these days. But anyway, the great Scott Medina, everybody. That was our yes ranking. You freaks are awesome. I'm going to go full screen, Scott, for this last send off. I love you, dude. Thank you so much for joining me. Anyway, you guys are amazing. I am Scott from the Prog Corner, and I will see you freaks later.